did 30 copies, and that 30 would have been enough, but obviously I did not, or if I did print 30, I must have confused and left some over there. But anyway, I'm sorry. But let's address the questions that might be of interest to you, and then let's see if we can together find some kind of a response. Who's going to be daring enough to start?
Which topic would you like us to start with?
The one that you want.
How about the one about prayer?
About?
Prayer.
Prayer, okay. Do you have a question on that, or?
14 is
No.
silence and solitude help us to be open to the transcendence. How do we create that atmosphere?
Okay. So in other words, how do we try to put God in our presence? How do we try to be open to God as God comes to us? Okay? Does anybody want to address that? Or I don't want to be, I can try to address it myself, but I would like you also to make some comments and to jump in with your insights. All right, I'll start this one.
Sure.
Okay, I'll start this one, and then I hope after that you can jump in and then help me to try to elucidate whatever is being raised. The reason I put that there is that God is always addressing us. Day and night, if you're attentive and aware, you're going to be in God's presence, and you're even going to sometimes realize that presence, and in some way even be transformed by that presence. But most of the time, we are so taken up by what is around us, whether it's television, a friend, a movie, the work particularly, a family. Everything that attracts our attention helps us to focus on something material, something which is very close to us. So if we don't pay attention and actually make an effort to set aside and to be somewhat isolated, then we're going to be missing the fact that God is addressing us. And that's why very often we go in the church and we ask, let's have moments of silence in the church. Or it could be by ourselves in our room, go to our room, just sit down comfortably, realize that you are in God's presence, ask God to be present to you in a more manifest way, and then start the dialogue. So very often we don't realize it because we're too busy with something else. We're so taken up by everything else that we don't focus. And so basically, we're not really praying. We're not spending the time listening. And we're, especially some people automatically, the minute they come to a room, they turn on a television, or they turn on a radio, or if there's no noise, they'll try to find something to have some noise, be distracted. I'm not working, but so now I can sit down and what am I going to listen? I'm going to look at television. Am I going to try to sit down and say I'm going to recite the rosary, or I'm going to try to be in God's presence? Probably not, okay? Because it takes a discipline and it takes a training in order to do that. Anybody else want to comment on that? Or yes, Blouin?
In our church, we have adoration 24/7.
Wow.
And I try to go in at least once a day. And it's a very peaceful and rewarding experience. And sometimes God talks to you.
Yeah.
And sometimes He talks to you if you open a book and you get an answer to your question.
Yes. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, I gave an example of one time where I was in some kind of difficulty, and I had asked God for an answer, and now sometimes the answer doesn't come. But at other times it does. So in other words, at least be open to an answer. And the fact of going to a chapel where there's adoration, that's incredible, 24/7, you know, that's a lot.
Since 1995.
Wow. That's, you know, that's an unusual parish. That's 95, that's already 17 years, that's a long time. Okay, anyone else have comments, or?
The topic of is silence toward the helping us to be open to the transcendent. How better to maintain that silence, as it were, than to, before we were to go and pray, to reflect on the wonders of the Most High God,
Yeah.
the first, and then to prepare our hearts to what it is we're going to pray, whereby having the best chance of having God actually a good reason for him to respond, and say, the sense of him being who he is, also known, none other than the God of justice.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why also very often the monks who are going to the chapel to pray, they will start by using a hymn, and we do that in our own chapel. We start with a hymn. So in other words, we are praising God. We say, yes, we believe you are here. Yes, we thank you for all the blessings that you have given us. Yes, we believe that you can respond to us. And right now, this is what, you know, we'd like to address. For example, just a couple days ago, when the tragedy happened, I used that as a moment of dialogue, you know, asking, why the violence? How can we do, is there anything we can do to try to attenuate the violence? Is there something we can do that is possible for us as human beings to say that we don't live in such an environment, a difficult and painful and violent environment? Is there anything we can do about it? So in other words, it gives you a direct topic to address God and then back. And then same thing if you have someone ill in the family, or if you find yourself that you're very impatient and you have difficulty controlling that impatience, then dialogue with God on that. If for example, you have a child that is difficult and you don't know how to address that child, that would be a wonderful topic to address the Lord and say, look, I'm really struggling. My child now, you know, Tommy is now 16 and he's becoming very difficult. I'm having difficulty relating to him. He doesn't listen to me, he doesn't want to go to church. And then you address God directly, and then you could, you're actually starting a dialogue with the one and say, look, is there anything you can tell me? You know, what do you think I could do so that the relationship that I have with Tommy is better? Yes?
I want to go back, if we could, to the Newton, like for instance, along with what you're saying, what calls them if they rarely attend otherwise? And I guess I want to spend a little time on this because I think deep down inside, it's pretty hard to remove yourself from that incident right now. I mean, it really, you have to be pretty cold to, whether we're praying or washing the dishes or whatever, not having this pretty much take up